How to Wholeo.
Start with go. Follow the sand. I am caroling. This movie shares my art journey with geometric patterns that I imagine could be how our consciousness is structured. As I was visualizing these structures of consciousness, I saw that they expand and could be used for evolved thinking, for development, programming, planning, or building. I call this process expanded consciousness. Via transpersonal development, via personal transformation. Wholeo.
Vivid.
It's an honor society thing. Lind graduated in 1960. Through hope to the stars. Hello, Wholeo. It's a sign. We're on sand. Tilt the sign. How to Wholeo 2024. Pointing to the stars. Transition to vision. This is a vision bubble. An SiO2, a silicon dioxide or silica glass switch and sand story. I was a Zen painter who went into glass. The silicon of glass is stained and brings women's lib to the medieval craft tradition. The glass is also through the looking, leading to visions of structures of consciousness. I was a dropped out artist who went digital for money in Silicon Valley. In Silicon Valley, the silicon switch is electronic. The switch turns on the other side of my brain as we expand from analog to digital. I retired to publish my visions, which led to Follow the Sand, where my inspiration is the white quartz sand, and that's the beginning of my story. Follow the Sand. Moving online, the SiO2, silicon dioxide of sand, leads to a trip to the ancestors. Silicon quartz source. Meet A prime, a clear crystal quartz sand singing bowl. 1 and 0, binary. I need to be with my friend A today, A prime. Oops, I touched it. For Caroling's final artwork, Who is she? I've been an artist all my life. What is my story? No more school. Graduating summa cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa, MFA. What's next? Phi Beta Kappa Key, per aspera ad astra, means through hope to the stars. Wholeo, on the cover of Glass magazine, 1977. Whole self, Wholeo Dome, 1974, leads to lifelong visions, expanding consciousness. And I realized that what I had done is perfect example of the joy of serendipity and wonder of being an artist. A silicon dioxide glass story. I want to tell you about what happened after Wholeo Dome, but we have to go into a little of the roots behind Wholeo Dome, which were what do you see with your eyes closed? Here we are with our eyes open and the sunlight is beaming in. Erwin said it to me when I didn't know exactly what my art direction would be. What do you see with your eyes closed? Does it get dark? Joint between the undivided and the divided. Joint birthplace of the point and sphere of consciousness. Wholeo symbol. Angles are close to the language of the gods. We will speak in colors. Open your mind's eye. It's easy if you try. It's easy if you try. And so I did it. And I started to see patterns and shapes and colors. They came with words and meanings. There were memory beads, but the most surprising, the most shocking, the most lasting of what I saw was the smallest unit of life, which was red and blue, swirling around a sphere from the bottom South Pole to the North Pole, and between that and the center, spiraling energies going between the North and the South Pole. Now we're going into our memories. Bye-bye, sun. And that's the smallest unit of life, it said. So I put that in Wholeo Dome, and then came this information storage block, and that's where there are incoming sensations to the cell, which I call the brain cell. There's some sun. See these beams peep through like inspirations. Structures of consciousness. Octahedron. is made with what? Triangular faces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oct is for octal, is for 8. 8 triangles. So here's the triangles we're using. This has
3 edges
and 1 triangular face. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 triangles are going to make up a tetrahedron. With equal
edges.
And 4 faces. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 faces. Now if we have 2 of these, 2 tetrahedrons, I call them tets, with 4 faces, we have 8 faces. Remember that octahedron. When we put 1 plus 1 is 2 into what's it? A duotet. Duo means 2. 2 tetrahedrons make a duotet. Or some people erroneously call this a star tetrahedron. It's called a stella octangula. Stella, star, octangula for the octahedron inside. See the corners of the octahedron? Inside here, these are star faces on the octahedron within.
It's all within a cube.
Now, onward.
And I've done drawings, I've written, and I've done web pages, but I'd like to give you the feeling of doing this. Like, it's not that my eyes are closed, it's that I'm not paying attention what's outside. It's what's in my mind's eye that I'm looking at, that I'm paying attention to. And I put the storage block into Wholeo Dome, and then I got a lot of information about what was in there and how it worked in the mind. And I've made paintings, and I put that in Wholeo Dome. So inside the storage block was a tetrahedral light muscle. And this worked with cosmic juices, which were little energy points arranged at the corners of the cube. So in Wholeo Dome, I put myself as in a breathing cloud with a pineal gland overhead. It was the inner eye. The adept is the person intuiting reality. Okay, we're in the dome and we're looking to the north of the dome. And there's the God cell in a wholly developed individual. And there are 1, 2, 3 double spirals, which are the powering energy of the tetrahedral light muscle in the storage block. So this is a story of developing intuitions of these structures of consciousness that I looked at, searched for, received in my art life, and tried to bring to you. So at that point in the dome, I knew about spiral circular energies inside the smallest unit of life, and I knew that it was my purpose. So put up the dome in my yard. I'm wondering what next. Erwin is gone, and I'm sitting on my porch. It's a porch that was open to a hill. It was called the Bohemian Grove. But here are these trees. They're always my inspiration. Also should talk about Buckminster Fuller and the dome I lived in to build Wholeo Dome. So down there in front of the mountain is the framework of the dome that I lived in, which is based on a bamboo dome.
Designed by R. Buckminster Fuller in Dome Book 2. The 5/8 frame is made of 12 rings which form 12 pentagons. Look inside. See the 12 rings have 20 triangles and 12 pentagons. It is a spherical form containing an expanded dodecahedron and an expanded icosahedron. The hemispherical geodesic frame for Wholeo Dome also contains these expanded forms.
I became fascinated with this geometry. I had to learn, of course, about geodesic geometry to build the frame for Wholeo Dome. I'll tell you a secret, it turned out to be the same geometry of the structure of consciousness that I want to tell you about. I want you to remember this. I hope that you get it as an abstract structure that sometime might be meaningful to you. So I'm seeing the bamboo dome, which it's made of circles. I lived in this frame. I lived in it for 2 years. I just love it out here. So this is the setting. The mountain is a symbol of looking upward. Let's not talk about a symbol, just see the mountain of trees. See the bamboo dome made of metal that I lived in. That's kind of part of my aura now. And I get a vision. I see feathers. 4 feathers. I know this is coming from the indigenous land and people that came before me in this place on earth. This is like going through a gate. Yeah, there were many directions from this inside. Hello, sun. It's an intersection. Here's my vision. It's an expanded octahedron, really. Later I learned that the octahedron is where the 2 tetrahedrons overlap. It's the core. That's all there was to the vision. But the principle of the structures of expanding consciousness is the expanding octahedron inside the tetrahedral light muscle, which I go on to realize is inside the storage block, which is enclosed in the sphere of emotions, which is emotions, feeling, the spiral of life from nothing around to something. It's electrical, it's magnetic, it's central. After Wholeo Dome, I learned about these structures of consciousness. And it was all based on that scene there, vision, with the mountain of aspiration and the trees.
Expanding structures of consciousness.
Wow.
Expanding faces.
Inside
The
sphere of emotions is a cube containing a duotip which surrounds an octahedron. Octahedron expands
into a
rhombic cube octahedron. or movie.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 triangles of the oct. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faces of the cube are now an expanded structure of consciousness. There are 3 stages for structures of expansion of consciousness. The first stage is the cube, and it's a given. The second stage is a movie, and it's a transition. The third stage is 5 cubes arrayed and synergizing as a sense array. So we left off with a cube. Remember what's inside the cube? 2 tetrahedrons called a duotet. And inside that is an octahedron, oct. When consciousness starts to expand, the duotet becomes active. And the octahedron inside expands to a movie. This is the form that relates to the cube, because the cube faces expand to hold these in place. So here we have our expanded cube. It's a movie. Well, of course, it's not the only brain cell in town. We have one. We have another one. And another one. Another one. And when 5 get together, this turns this on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what do they look like? They expand, and together they synergize, and the magic is happening. It turns out it's not really magic after all. It's what Buckminster Fuller calls synergy. From synergetics, synergy means behavior of whole systems unpredicted by any part of the system as considered only separately. And that's what happens here when the red, the cyan, the green, the gold, and the blue, the cube faces, synergize, and they find a new form, which I call this SenseArray, because it's really an array. It's not a thing. It's an organization. Geometrically, technically, it is a rhombicosidodecahedron called a SenseArray functionally. Notice there are holes in the form. Notice that this form includes a dodecahedron, which is an expanded dodecahedron. So there's one, see the pentagon? See the pentagon? 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 plus 5 plus 5 equals 12. 12 faces. 5 cubes join together and synergize. They form 12 pentagons. And between them are triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where do the triangles come from? The expanded octahedrons. And there's how many of them? Well, each octahedron has 8, and there's 5, so there must be 40 triangles. But they pair up, so there's actually 20 triangles in an icosahedron, and they come between.
Where's
This form exists without the cube, but when the cube comes together, you still have the icosahedron 20 triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, say we start with this combination here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. See, this is the one we already counted. So then there's down here, there's 1, 2, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That forms an icosahedron. All these parts are still just the cube expanded.
the parts stand for the faces of 5 cubes and their inner pairs of tetrahedrons.
The structure of 5 cubes expanded. And the geodesic circulation of 12 rings and 12 pentagons. Merge into SenseArray.
The natives showed me the octahedron expanded, and that was the transitional shape to the bamboo dome, which I had received from Buckminster Fuller, and becomes the basis of all the details that came to me during these years from 1974, now 2024. 50 years gestation to this movie that I hope to tell you how to Wholeo the way I did it, and you, of course, find your own way. So I want to pass these visions on to you. You see, it's finding patterns. These structures of expansion allow us to organize and become more aware. So as we expand our consciousness, it takes a different form. Maybe it's a virtual form. I mean, undoubtedly, it's a virtual form. It's been so lovely talking to you. Nothing makes me happier than being here with all this new growth and life that sustains us, and a road through our sand. Me, hello, I love you. I love you. It's kind of funny, isn't it? Hello.
Nothing matters. A silicon dioxide switch. Story. Electronic switch. Off on, off on, off on. Fiber optics. Raynet. From silicon in glass to silicon in fiber optics. Chips in computers. Transitioning transistors. Needing software and electricity to run them. Expand consciousness by new work, new tech, new ways to communicate. Internet, calculators, email. I worked here. Silicon Graphics Incorporated. Iris Insight Rocket Science Interactive TV System from developer and server to TV. Team building t-shirts. Tell us about it, computer voice.
T-shirts shout out. Silicon Valley 1990s 1990 Mathematica Conference. Math. Programming. Borland C++ Extended QA Team. Periodic table of most hated beta bugs. I am Altos. Brand. Computer systems. Packed with fresh ideas. The company at the beginning of the future. Interactive community software. AT&T. Interactive digital solutions. Time Warner Cable. Carousel. Interactivity. $5.1 Alpha Team Member. Silicon Graphics. IRIX 5.2.
Operating system. IRIX 5.2.
Remember,
it's all within a cube.
we make the impossible possible. The magic of Silicon Graphics.
2023 Street View of SGI's old location now with Google and Facebook buildings.
Network Systems Division. No boundaries. Challenge servers. Commercial parallel computing. Silicon Graphics, the new future of technology. Visual Systems Group. The digital studio of the 21st century. No limits. Silicon Graphics. DreamWorks. Silicon Studio.
This was presented with Steven Spielberg on a giant screen out in the parking lot of their new collaboration. No limits. Woo!
Interactive media. Ideas. Media. You. Web Force. To author and to serve. World Wide Web Solutions. The new force in computing. Silicon Graphics. http://www.sgi.com.
Adobe, Unix, HyperCard, SuperCard, Photoshop, C++, Macromedia, Flash, Apple, QTVR, QuickTime, Rainmaker, Premiere Pro, Final Cut, World Wide Web, iMac, HTTPS, HTML, Well, SenseArrays in nanoparticle shape could be programmed. The SenseArray is an array that is coded. It might start like this in a computer program.
The physical structure of our brain is probably not going to change, but the messages and the chemicals might be changing.
Binary hex base 64. Digital codes for ohm.
Hardly. Visualization will always be the key to enlightenment. Silicon graphics.
A silicon dioxide
Sand story.
from Silicon Graphic, Silicon Sand of Florida. Follow the sand back up to the land of the silicon quartz sand source. Themes.
Follow the sand.
How to Wholeo. A button vision.
5 structures of consciousness expanding come together. Become a SenseArray with 12 rings. Expanding consciousness. Keep breathing. Centered on consciousness symbol. Follow the sand. Expanding consciousness. Mother's mountains. My sand. Consciousness expanding. Wholeo 2024. This one, now what we do is going to go on here, so we'll put this down here. It has to be centered right on that dot. Yo is on. We'll put this on here and see if we can see the sand in there. Photo, let's take a photo. There it is. Sand. Grains of sand. Call me Nugget,
I'm your sand rep.
along with Wholeo Awareness Guide. What just happened? Replay it. I call it the sphere of the emotions. Containing an information storage block.
Powered by a tetrahedral light muscle.
I retired to Northwest Florida.
Sand, grand, can hardly stand. Up straight,
Their ultimate fate. See, they start out like that.
but it's your fate.
Tilt the sign. See about this one. It's sand under there, covered up with pine needles. Yeah, there it is. Tilt the sign.
I wonder
How they get the houses to stay straight. Follow the sand. After the last ice age, they say ancient mountains crumbled, flowing down. Rivers taking thousands of years through the Gulf Walters to form the pure,
smoothly rounded
clear quartz crystal sand grains of our lands to walk on our beach. Really? I will go to find Mother of Sand, quartz source. Come walk with me, and we will see. First, breathe out. Walk with me. Follow the sand. Going to where sand came from. Ancestors are quartz crystals in the Appalachian Mountains, the source of sand on the Emerald Coast. Visions come. This is the plan. On the road guide from Florida to North Georgia, from sand to the Ancestors. Nugget will meet quartz source in the Appalachian Mountains of North Georgia.
backtracking along the Gulf. Up the rivers. To quartz source. Nugget will meet with quartz source in the Appalachian Mountains of North Georgia. I'm connecting with quartz crystal sand on my Florida beach with its ancestors of the Blue Ridge Appalachian Mountains. To follow this story, imagine that quartz sand has a form of consciousness. Some Florida sand comes with me. It's coming with me to North Georgia. Driving north to the quartz sand source. Transition to vision. Sand spirits sense river. Look at the whole river valley. Getting it, and it should take me over the river. Are you getting excited yet? Yes, I am. And I just tuned into sand flyers, and I saw them going like this, kind of turning on their axis. And I thought maybe that's what the three paths are about. It's a holding pattern because we're close to the river and we're going towards the source and they're activated. How's the flyers? Tilted this way. They're good. They're in resting pattern. They're actually not together. They all have different. It's like the dashes in the vision bubble. The little dashes are like little propellers. Are like little birds flying all over. And they kind of settled into me. Not like roosting, but like flying in pattern. Because my spirit and my appreciation, my apprehension of them, we've got this intermediate state where we are talking or even paying attention, but aware of each other, a commingling, a communication, acknowledgement state. We are here in North Georgia mountains. Nugget is about to meet quartz crystal from North Georgia mountains. Mile 1. Let's just stop and look at this. There's nobody behind us.
What's up? Sand, speak to me. Oh my gosh, it's like the arrowhead at the lodge. The sand is kind of magnetically all pointed like an arrowhead ready to go somewhere.
North Georgia mountain cabin. Meditating on the roots of quartz sand below the mountains and older. Meditating. Breathe. Then breathe in, putting down a root from our spine. Down where water source for the river is, the roots of the crystalline soil of the mountain we're on spiral, mountain behind in unconscious, feet down rooted with spinal root in ancient seabed, creation of sand flowing through you. Root seabed. Root in seabed below the old mountain. The mountain largely turned to sand.
Almost over. See the clouds of it. Only a big camera.
You are in a miniature Earth. In GeoView, Bucky wrote, one goes inside to go outside oneself and into the center of the Earth. Anchor consciousness in Earth's center. Meditating with the moon in real time. Final root, starlight, crystals.
Sand. How are you doing, Sand? It seems to have little pluses. Pluses.
come to North Georgia, bringing Florida sand to meet quartz ancestors.
The Hardman Trail preserves a mile of the Chattahoochee River in North Georgia. See a rock from its bank under the microscope.
Okay, remember this is the flake off the wall along Hardman Trail. I haven't seen anything like this other places. This is where it's really goldy, shiny. Whoa. Here's the top of the front part. Wow. Rich.
Water flowing underfoot, going to Florida. First, breathe out. Then, breathe in. Close.
Wow, this tells a story. See, it starts out as boulders.
Follow the sand.
The color. It's turquoisey. And then pieces break off. And they become like that. And gradually, then when they get small enough, they get swept away. This is the stuff that our beach comes from. Look at the different levels of sand. From pebbles to tinier pebbles to granular. Oh, okay. This stuff. Is there quartz in here? Maybe that one. And then there's this stuff. Just finer. That's wet. There must be all kinds of different rocks. So why do we have just the quartz? Is that quartz or what? Oh, okay.
Appalachian mountain sand under the microscope. story of how the mountains break down into sand. Being almost as hard as diamonds, clear quartz crystal sands survived the trip to the Emerald Coast better than softer mountain minerals. In North Georgia, following Florida sand, I visited petroglyphs left by indigenous people long ago. I ask, "How are you doing, sand?" Florida sand responds with a vision I draw. It's quite like a button that I photograph. Button, what could that mean? Reviewing the photos of the petroglyphs, I'm stunned, riveted on an image carved in sandstone that is quite like Florida sand state. Visualizing the flow of time, space, and crystals between in the Appalachian mountains. There, then, and Florida, now, a stream of consciousness between their buttons. Transmit, received. Sand, how are you? Transmitting, receiving. Receive. Flying beacon of petroglyph button appeared, a signal that I was in the zone. It must be speaking to my whole self, which my waking consciousness only partly understands. I am in the beat. Walking along, I find an image so like the button that blows my mind. Yet another button image resonates with my vision. At the Indian Temple Mound Museum is a clay disc with holes, reminding me of the sand's button vision. Looked like a button to me. Talking to sand, a button searchlight appeared. It is a consciousness beacon with intergalactic messaging. Button searchlights in linear array on the beach. Consciousness symbol, button vision review. With Florida sand seeking ancestors. It started in North Georgia. Thinking, sand, how are you? Envision a circle around 4 dots. Call it a button, looks like one. Shape appears on petroglyph. Forms on quartz sand beach. Daydreams in colored lights. And in Indian Temple Mound Museum, a round clay pot part drilled with 4 holes, squaring the circle. Consciousness beacon with intergalactic messaging vision. Consciousness symbol expanded. Retaining ring for synergy of 5 spheres of emotions. Structures of consciousness. Brain cells. Transmit. Visions of a relationship between human and quartz consciousness. Structures. Human. 2 tetrahedrons in a duotet. 2 tetrahedrons.
This is the visionary Wholeo model.
Quartz sand. SiO2. Quartz is networked, sharing 2 oxygens with the next molecule. Another form of duotet, 2 tetrahedrons.
This is a molecular model. Might these similar patterns relate?
Visions. Hello, sand. I'm pointing at galactic center. How are you, sand? Pointing at what is around that, farther out. A bigger galaxy. SenseArray is the quintessence of expanded consciousness. In me, SenseArray rings are agents of expansion. Multiple selves explore.
When I stretch back in time
To this ancestor seabed connection between Appalachian mountains and Africa. At sand's root, I found my root. Appalachian mountains, Africa, an ancient seabed. Webb Telescope sees far-off galaxies in a grain of sand. I have a sense of zeroing in to detailed features of reality. I'm measuring on a finer scale.
I couldn't contract back to here.
I have expanded measurements on a finer scale, closer to sand.
Hours, minutes, seconds, degrees. There's a consciousness, fineness that helps us communicate better.
Your visions and your story.
What do you see, hear, and talk to with your eyes closed?
Your story. William Blake wrote, "To see a world in a grain of sand." What does Robert M. Pirsig say about sand? Robert M. Pirsig. We take a handful of sand from the endless landscape of awareness and call that sand the world of which we are conscious. Each grain of sand is different.
Here's the Bob Pirsig theory process of writing a book. First you get a shoebox, and in the shoebox you have index cards upon which you write an idea. So you've got idea 1 and you put it in here, and then you have another idea. It might be end of Zen. So it would it go before Zen? This is Zen. Or would it go after Zen? And since it's end of Zen, it goes after Zen. So each index card that you write, you ask that question. Is it before or after? And pretty soon you have a whole book lined up. no axe to grind. There is no Wholeo to hoe. Just kidding. Find out how you do it your way. That's how.
An SiO2 end story. Opening mind's eye. What visions may come? Expanding structures of consciousness? Following the sand.
This movie was a gateway to 70 years of my artwork and meditation and how to Wholeo. Oh, rock of my soul, I say it's so low, you can't get under it. So wide, you can't get round it. So high, you can't get over it. Oh, rock of my soul.
Let's see, what if I did this thing
Around. Every now and again I get it, yeah.
still going? I can feel it in my
Yeah.
hand. I like holding it in my hand.
Wholeo Online.
How to Wholeo.
Dedicated to our Buckminster Fuller.
Video by Caroline. Copyright 2024. Wholeo.net.
Walking on the moon, we could live together. Walking on